Hello and welcome to the Inner Gamer Next, where we play a video game and figure out if it should or shouldn't be next up on your video game playlist.
And today we dive into Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Now, before we get this started, I just want to make sure that this is an impressions of the beta, but I feel like the gameplay, the core gameplay, is exactly what we're going to get from the base game. So take this for what it is, and let's do it. And this is a game that we got pretty pumped for during E3. I would say we're pretty highly anticipating it. I mean, it's coming out this Friday, so if you're looking forward to it, I hope you didn't pre-order it yet because I'm about to tear it apart. So let me start off like how it started. You start off in a helicopter, right? And like they do a little like text thing like, hey, this is what has happened and this is why you're here. A ship was shot down and you lost communications with some of your people that you're in the army with, and you went to go investigate. And so you make your character, and the character is mostly customizable. They look pretty good. And then like you're flying at night in the helicopter with a few other helicopters, and they all get shot down. And it's pretty cinematic. Like I actually enjoyed the cutscene.
Sounds like Far Cry.
Yeah,
opening sequence.
Right. And so you end up like on the ground and you're injured. So they show you how to heal yourself really quick. And, you know, it's all dark and very epic and cinematic the way they have everything laid out. The first thing is you have to be stealthy while some guards are nearby. And so you have to get past them. And then you're supposed to go find this other helicopter that got shot down. And when you get there, John Bernthal comes in and is like, I'm a ghost too. And shoots one of the guys. I didn't realize how funny that was in the trailer. Me and Travis were talking about it. He was like, wait, is Breakpoint that game where they're like, I'm a ghost too? I was like, yeah, that's the one, man. It's funny. So you get to know his character, and then like right off the bat, he's the bad guy, obviously. And then you have to go. Then somehow, your mission is to go to this location in a cave with a waterfall, and you find a bunch of people who are like hiding out, trying to survive this insurgency of John Bernthal's people. And it's just like they let you in, and they're like, all right, just watch that gun, okay? I'm like, wait a second. How do we know you? And why did you just let us in when you're already afraid of people? Like, what the fuck? There's no form of like, yeah, I'm with the U.S. military when planes got crashed down, and or maybe it did. I don't remember it happening. And then you just walk on in, and then you start talking to people, and you befriend these people, and they're like, all right, we're going to give you missions. You got to help us out. We're like, okay, here we go. Rambo over here. Mm-hmm. So that's how you get to the hub world. And then obviously they have gear and stuff like that you can buy and get missions from people and side missions and stuff like that. So right off the bat, after all that, the world is flipping fantastic. This is the best world created by Ubisoft ever. Like, it is pristine across the board. Everywhere you go, there's so much lush vegetation. The graphics are like the best graphics. Like the way that they have the lighting and the ambient occlusion and all the stuff. And there's fog, there's night and day, there's weather effects and stuff. And I'm like, dude, this is a world that I want to jump into. So needless to say, early on, I was pumped. I was like, yes, this is going to be awesome. So, you know, I go and do a few missions. I kill some people, and they drop gear in this Galactic Division. So they have a gear score that you have. So you're able to, you know, change out gear. Some of the guns are the same. They just have better stats. And, you know, they have the green, the blue, the purples. I don't know if they have purple. I'm sure they have at least orange or yellow for like super rare. And you just like increase your gear score. You get better stuff. You get different pants and looks and stuff like that. And the cool thing is you can go into the menu systems and say you get better boots, but you don't like the way they look. Well, every time you get new gear, you can just make another piece of gear look like that old piece of gear. So you can highly customize how you look, what you're wearing, and the colors that go along with that.
That's nice.
So I was like, dude, this is fucking awesome. And the menus, Brett, you love the menus. It is clean. It is nice. It's easy to look at and move around in. It's not too complicated. And I'm like, yes, I'm loving this right now. So
not.
Well, as you progress deeper into the story, I'll continue on the stuff I do like. You get to the site. You get like one flashback mission of like where you met John Bernthal's character, And then you go to a second one where you really get to know his character. And so the main mission is kind of like figuring out how this guy has gotten to this point, you know? A bit kind of like falling from grace type thing. Like you were so like good.
Yeah.
Well, in the mission, I'm going to spoil it a little bit. I think it's important, and it's definitely worth checking out if you're going to play the beta. Well, it'll be over by then, but definitely checking out on the internet if you haven't already. But
yeah,
you are with this guy, and he's like, a senator's son or something like that, someone who has power in the government, and he's like threatening John Bernthal because that guy accidentally shot somebody, and he's trying to cover it up, make it seem like that woman that he shot was trying to kill him. And John Berthal's like, nah, I'm not having this shit.
Like, nah, fool.
Yeah, you're doing something crazy. He's like, well, I'm going to tell my dad about you. And so he's like, well, fine, you tell your dad about me. Yeah. So John Berthal walks away, and this guy is like, well, I'm not going to let you tell my dad anything. So he goes to shoot John Berthal's character, and your character who was there stops that other guy. And so it's this really intense moment of John just like, what am I doing? Like, he's pissed off. And you see that first glimpse of him being like, I'm not taking this shit anymore, because we have, like pansy guys like this in the military who are going to get someone killed and get us in trouble. So he actually shoots the guy in the face. And I'm like, oh, dang. So he's just not having it with the U.S. government, it seems like. So obviously that's like the first clue of like how he's going to, become this character that he is. So the story I'm actually intrigued by, but I didn't come to this game about the story. Travis is really pissed off. He's like, dang, this story could be so much better, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, look, man, it's an Ubisoft game. The stories are not that great. Yeah. But they actually did a good job with John's character, so I'm really impressed with that. Now, as I progress in the story, you only have 5 missions to play through, and I got through 3. I got through 3 of them. Come to find out, what I was thinking, and I'm sure you were too, it was going to be heavy on survival, it was going to be heavy on stealth, and the enemies were going to be really hard, because the way they portrayed that in some of the gameplay leading up to this made it seem like you really had to be on your toes and plan out how you're going to move on certain locations, because these people were going to be, just as deadly as you are. And that might be the case later in the game, but early on, I was like, well, do I need to be stealthy? And it turns out you don't have to be stealthy. I think that's a huge detriment to this game and what people expect. Because me and Travis went in there and we blew people away. Yeah, like the whole facility knew we were there, but it was really easy to pick them off one by one. And then what really pissed me off was that there were these heavy units. They were fully decked out in armor, and they're like 6 feet tall with giant machine guns or chain guns with a backpack of bullets, and have a helmet on their head that's like, a heavy helmet. So it's like, oh man, these guys are going to be tough. We're going to have a hard time. Nope. One shot in the head, knock off the helmet, another shot in the head, and they're dead. All right. So what is the gear score for if it's not to progress with harder and harder units? And I was like, they ruined it for me. It's like they have this aspect of Division and Destiny where it's like you get better gear because the enemies are getting harder and harder. But no, you can just go in, snipe everybody before you even get in there, which can be fun. And it means nothing. So when I go in there and I alert these units, I think once they called for backup out of the like 20 encounters I encountered. And it's like, well, that's not fun at all. Like, it's just, the gameplay is not as great. Like, they have all these systems in place that were set up to be a great game. They just didn't pull through. And I really like their loadout for the skill tree. So you start off with like 4 different archetypes. So like they have the field medic, they have the assault, they have, I forgot what the other one was, and then they have the sharpshooter. And all those, like, you open those with skill points you get over time, and that unlocks the first little bubble. It has 4 skills, and they call it the basic skills. And after you unlock that and get one of those, it starts to pan out with different skills tied to different things. So I was like, this is awesome, because you can literally have different loadouts for different aspects of like what needs to be filled, and they have a passive abilities that I was really focusing on. So you can get like better, like more XP for killing people, or you can get you can like climb up hills faster, or have more stamina. And I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm ready for this. Like, every encounter is going to require something different. So, when I get my friends in here, we can kind of figure out like what we need, what our challenges are, and like go from there and like make a plan. Like, you can't just go in there and like blow people's heads off. No, you can. You can. So it's like, there's no reason to deal with any of this besides get an XP boost. And so, and you would think that, they said they have the bivouac, which are like these camps that you go and can plan ahead of time, and you decide like change the time of day in order to plan your encounters out. So like, maybe it's better to go at night than it is to go during the day, So you can get night vision too, and heat vision. And I was like, oh fuck, or thermal vision. I was like, this is awesome. Like it's a robust system of attacking your enemies, but it means nothing because you can just steamroll them every time. So
well, that sucks.
My impression is, I know you're going to say it's a beta. It could be better, once the actual game releases. No, these are like core systems that they are toting out to be like the best of the best. It's a beta. It's a marketing beta. That's what it is. And I will not buy this game. I will not.
Well, that sucks.
Yeah. Save your money, guys. Some people might enjoy it because, they have a loot system here, but I just think the core systems of what Ghost Recon's supposed to be is not there.
Yeah.
It needs to be where you can get killed in like a few shots, right? Because that makes it like worth planning out your attacks, because you have drones and stuff. Like, one person's a sharpshooter, they get a good position, they can like overwatch the field. You have one guy with a drone, can kind of look at a different angle just in case, and then like 2 guys go in or 3 guys go in, and you have to plan out getting someone out, or getting intel, and then if you alert somebody, you should have obviously the whole facility coming at you, along with like, hey, backup's coming now. So not only was it hard before, now it's going to be even twice as hard. You have a man go down, someone has to carry him out, someone has to be, watching them and giving them backup to make sure everyone gets out in time, and then they're supposed to chase you with vehicles, and it's like, that is not what happened. That is not what happened at all.
Sounds like a repeat of Wildlands when that came out.
I mean, it's typical Ubisoft. They have great worlds, like we've said in the past, but overall, they just cannot execute a game. Now, forget about the story, because they just they cannot make a good story. But they skipped the bar, man, or they missed the bar. They missed it.
They missed it.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks.
I guess I'm not surprised, because it is another AAA title just trying to get another game out there. So
I'm sure it's going to get really popular. People are going to play the hell out of
I'm
it.
sure they are. I've already saw people who are like, I'm really pumped for this game. I'm really excited to talk about this with y'all because it's so good. I was like, it's not, guys.
Yeah,
it's not.
I wish I had jumped in and played it, because I was curious to know. It was like, I'm just in it for like fun gameplay with my friends, and that'd be cool if it has that. But it sounds like it might not have that. So that's a bummer.